everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about my educational background and tell you about the differences in my opinion that I found regarding UK universities and French universities. But before we start, just a quick reminder, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to check out my blog, and of course to follow me on Instagram. So as I was saying, I studied both law in France and in the UK. In France, I went to Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne after high school. I did my bachelor degree there and also a master's in international commercial law. Then 2 years ago, I had the chance to go to Swansea University to do an LLM in international maritime law. That was my educational background when it comes to universities. Now I'm going to give you my impressions on both French and UK universities. Regarding French universities, for me it was rather obvious that I would go study in Paris because I was living there. However, if you consider to study in France, don't forget to check out the other universities because they really have a high potential. Don't focus too much on Paris because the others might be also good when it comes to different courses. Now back to my personal experience. After high school, I was hesitating to attend 3 universities in Paris. There was Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne, Paris 2 SS, and the last one was Paris Nanterre. Now, why did I pick Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne? The 2 other universities are really good when it comes to their own courses. I mean, Paris 2 SS is really getting higher and higher when it comes to France and also internationally. There's really competition when it comes to international recognition with Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne. But Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne really had that prestigious international recognition that was more solid rather than SS. So that was one of the reasons when it comes to those 2 universities that I picked Paris over SS. When it comes to Paris Nanterre, it also has some kind of international reputation and it was really amazingly great, and it still is when it comes to double degrees. But I wasn't accepted in those programs. So I was like, okay, if I have to do general bachelor degree, then I'd rather go to Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne. Regarding the courses at Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne, regarding the lifestyle of a student, it's pretty hectic. I mean, it's not different from any other law student in the entire world. How would the course function and the module function? You would have 6 or 7 modules per term, not per year, but per term. So that would give you maybe 12 to 14 modules per year. Regarding your exams, you would have your first term exams in January and your second term exams in May. Exam process that I just detailed is 50% of your overall grade for 1 year. The other 50% of your overall grade would be seminars, as we call them in French, TD or travaux dirigés. Now, how many TD or seminars would you have per week? Usually you would have at least 2 to 3 modules that will be compulsory, and those compulsory modules would each have a TD. For those seminars, you will have an oral participation grade and test grades. That will count as your 50% for those seminars. So as I was saying, and it's really important for me to emphasize on that, your overall grade for your year would be 50% exam and 50% seminars. Now, after the course structure and assessment part, the student life. Lots of you may think that, okay, I actually want to work on the side to finance my studies. If you don't have that problem, then that's amazing for you. But if you want to work, I would say that it's quite impossible in France compared to the UK. The reason being that in France, the course is not really made for you to actually have a full-time work or a part-time job. You can have a part-time job, but that will be a struggle, and I really mean it. The reason being, like I told you, you have 6 to 7 modules per term. So let's say 12 to 14 modules per year, okay? One module is at least 3 hours per week. So you can multiply and make the calculation, and that would give you at least a 35 hours a week, which is like a normal week for any employees in any company. So being a student is like really being an employee for the university because you have a lot of classes to attend. However, you can still work part-time, but again, that requires a lot of self-discipline and organization because on top of the lectures that I told you, you have the seminars. One seminar is at least 1 hour. So if you have 2 seminars, then you have to add extra 2 hours per week. And on top of that, because you have to be prepared for the seminars, because yes, French seminars are a bit different from other seminars. I mean, it depends on the university that you're attending in the UK, but for French seminars, you have to submit dissertations and you're graded on those dissertations, and you also have to prepare the seminar, like I told you, and to participate because you will have a grade on that. And like that's a lot of work. So if you want to work on the side, do a part-time job because you may not have scholarship or those sorts of things, then definitely like really be self-disciplined, because that can be hard. It's really intense. Finally, when it comes to my overall impression about French university, it's not that great. I want to be fully honest with you, and maybe that's the reason why I felt like I needed some fresh air. I needed something refreshing when it came to my scholar path, that I needed to go abroad and see what was happening there, because I was really like questioning myself, are studies for me or not? Is it just French uni, or is it like this in the entire world? Turned out it was just French university. The reason being that, of course, I was in one of the top law school, and I understood that there was like some kind of higher level, and I had to compete not only with myself but also with other people, and by that I mean other universities. So that was one thing. Second thing, it was also the fact that, like I told you, we have 12 to 14 modules a year. So for one term, you're basically learning so much about areas of the law, and then you pass into another, and that for 3 years. So it's more quantity over quality. And I mean, it's great because you can discover about a lot of areas, and you're wondering, oh, I like that one, I want to work in that. Oh, I dislike that one, I don't want to work in that. But again, like, it doesn't make really sense because everything is like about theory. It's not in practice. Like, for example, I hated private law, but when I mean, in theory, but when I went to Singapore in a common law country, I just loved it. I was like, oh, arbitration, I want to do this. And contract law, I love it. But again, like the way it was taught, that it was taught so fast, and they just assume that when you start first year of law school, I guess it's like that everywhere, but they just assume that you know every terminology and every those kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty high level. Second thing is definitely the grading system. Again, maybe it's because I was in a top university, but the grading system was so discouraging. It was so common for me or other students to have like less than 10 on 20 rather than more. I mean, I remember one of my teachers, she told me like, oh, you did an excellent job on your paper, and before giving me back the paper, and I was like, oh, so that's great. So I may have like 15 on or 16 on 20 at least for sure. And then I got 10 on 20, like barely a pass, and I was like, what went wrong? Like, how come you tell me it's excellent job and it's really good paper, and at the same time I just got 10 on 20? Where did the other 10 points go if it was that excellent? So it's really misleading, and you're giving your best, you're doing everything you can, and you're not the only one, like other students as well are doing that. And you just like, there's an over confusion among all the students. Why are they doing that? Why are they discouraging people? However, the only positive thing about this was that it prepared me for UK universities for sure, because I was used to such a high level that I easily maintained without doing that much, without working that hard in UK universities. So now about UK universities. So I did my GDL at BPP University in London, online though, and I also did my master's degree in LLM at Swansea University in Wales. However, I also applied to other universities for the same course, whether in shipping law or maritime law. And I remember when I used to go to my French university, to the administration, to ask them, okay, I need those transcripts to actually apply. And they were telling me, girl, with your grades, I'm not really sure that you're gonna make it abroad. And turns out they were so wrong. And that was the best feeling in the world, because I was so glad and so happy that other universities abroad could see my potential. They were looking at my extracurricular activities. They were looking at my working experience and my academic, of course. But again, my academics were not excellent. And they saw my profile overall, and I got accepted by Cardiff University, Queen Mary University, which are both in the Russell Group, and I was also accepted to City of London. So that was really a boost of confidence, and I was really happy to tell the French university that they were so wrong, because I had a potential after all, and I shouldn't have been discouraged. However, when it comes to the teaching, I remember that when I went to Swansea University, I was simply shocked, but positively, because the quality of the teaching was so excellent, and I truly enjoy going to every single lecture, because I really enjoy how there was a debate, how there was a discussion, and you would not really have that in France. What I mean is, for example, on my first lecture that I attended in Swansea University, I remember that I had my computer, and I think every French law student would understand what I'm going there. I had my computer and I was ready to type every word that the teacher would say, just like I would in French, because in French, you basically have to type down almost everything that the teacher says. Of course, it depends on the teacher, but the majority of them are like that. You just type down everything, and then when you're at home, you understand, which is stupid, right? I mean, when you're attending a lecture, the best thing would be for you to attend and understand what the teacher is saying, paying more attention to what the teacher is saying rather than typing down every single detail to the comma, like to the one only comma. But anyway, and I remember I was ready to do that in Swansea, and then I didn't hear that wave of keyboard tapping, and I was like, what is happening? Turns out I really had to focus on what the teacher was saying rather than typing down. And I know it may sound super silly, but if you attend a course in like French university, you would know what I'm talking about. And that was so refreshing because once in my life at least, I got to understand during the lecture rather than understanding after when I was home and I couldn't ask, for example, my question to the teacher. And a student would participate during the lecture easily. I mean, in France, it's starting to be more and more like that, which is really amazing. But back then, like, you were kind of discouraged to ask a question. Like, what question would you ask? And if you would, then 200 students would look at you and be like, why did you participate? Like, what is your deal, dude? But yeah, in the UK, it's completely different. It's a bit like maybe in the US as well, where you have a debate during the class. Which brings me to my other point. It's not because you only have 4 modules during your LLM year compared to 12 or 14 in a French year that you have less work. On the contrary, you have to prepare the lecture and you have to prepare the seminar. Maybe you will have to prepare the seminar less. Truly depends on the assessment methods, but yeah, you have to prepare the lecture in the sense that you have readings that you have to read prior to the lecture to understand what the lecture will be about. So you're not discovering, like in most of French lectures, what the topic will be about today, what are the details, what are the specification, what is the teacher going to talk about in depth. So again, that means that because you read about this topic, then when you go to class, it's your moment to actually ask questions about things that you read, you did not understand, or about the topic itself that the teacher told you, like something during the lecture you did not quite understand and you want him to detail or explain more about it. Also regarding the exams, I felt less stressed to take exams in the UK rather than in France. The reason being that, like I told you, I was not discouraged as much as I would have been in France because I wouldn't feel like, okay, I'm going to give my best and I'm still going to suck and have a bad grade. In the UK, I would say they grade more fairly, so that kind of helped me to feel more confident because I knew that if I worked well, I would have a proper, not excellent, but it's a proper grade. That was the first thing. Also, the feedbacks that were amazing, that would really tell me in detail what do I need, what I did bad, what I did good, and what, like I say, I need to improve. And they also do that in France. I'm not saying that it's like that only UK does it, but it's less obvious, like the teacher would take less time for you perhaps. And also that's really a big thing, but in the UK teachers would give you big hints on what to study and what not to study, so you don't like study overall. I mean, you would have a overall knowledge anyway, but what to focus on and what to just exclude. At first, being a French student, I was like, I mean, during my GDL, they basically told me during the revision, do this and that, and that's it. And I was like, that's not true. It can't be true. And I was like, no, you're joking, like you're trying to trick me or something. And turns out they didn't. And it took me a lot of time actually to believe my teachers and trust my teachers when they were telling me that, because I was thinking like, oh, this is a trap or something. And it wasn't. So that's why I felt really confident whenever I would take an exam, because I would be like, I know the topic, they told me what it's gonna be about, like broadly, and what could go wrong. You know, the only thing that could go wrong, like I told you, is me stressing out about the time and stuff like that during the exam, but I could prepare myself more easily than in a French exam. Finally, I can't speak about UK universities without speaking about the campus. In France, we don't really have campuses. I mean, at least not in Paris for sure. And yeah, that was one thing that really seduced me and pushed me to go study abroad. And I really wanted to have a nice campus. So that's why I also picked Swansea, because I had the beach and everything. And it was amazing. Like in my LLM, we were all international students, and most of us, if not all of us, we felt like we had a second home in Swansea. I mean, it's such a small city, but we just loved it. And yeah, like for January, when everyone would go back to their home for Christmas or something and then come back, we wouldn't feel sad to come back because, again, it was a second home. We had our friends, we had our uni, we had our pubs and stuff like that. We had our little life, and that was simply like really great. Now, my overall impression. As you can easily guess, my preference definitely goes to UK universities. The first reason being that in France it's really quantity over quality, at least for the bachelor degree. You can't expect a student to remember 14 modules a year, whereas in the UK I could easily remember right after that, when it came to applying for my work, the knowledge that I acquired during the year. Second reason, the way of teaching. What I'm about to tell you is real. Like, you can ask any French law student and they will tell you that is not the joke, at least once they heard that, either during the bachelor degree or during the master's degree. Sometimes that's more rare, but it still happens. You always have that teacher that will tell you at the beginning of the year, okay, look at the student on your right, look at the student on your left. One of you three will not pass and you may quit even law. This is so harsh. I mean, it's so brutally honest. You just feel so motivated after high school to start your law degree, and then someone just brings you back to reality because, yeah, that's the problem. In France, it might be the case for other universities, but at least in France, that's the ugly truth. The reason is that you're gonna definitely, it's almost impossible for you not to have any resit at least once during your bachelor degree, and you can even retake a year. Like, I forgot the statistic, but like most of 60%, or if not 70%, at least had 1 year resit during the bachelor degree in France. However, in the UK, again, it's different. I find it more pleasant. I felt less pressured, for example, to participate in seminars. Whereas in France, during my entire bachelor degree and my master's degree, often when the teacher would ask a question, you would have a complete silence, like really the awkward silence, and sometimes the teacher would just pick a name and ask you a question. And actually, even when you raise your hand and you want to say something, or you want to participate, you're kind of discouraged. Like, if you don't find the exact phrasing or maybe the exact idea with the exact words or notion that the teacher wants to hear, then yeah, you might get a little bit backlash rather than the UK. In the UK, I never felt backlash or ashamed actually of my answer. Most of the time, the teacher would give me a feedback saying, no, I don't think that. Even the harshest teacher and like highly qualified and practitioner, they would not treat me badly. But I'm not saying it's a general case in France, but I felt that more in France way too often rather than the UK. Now, third point, the campus. Here it's a tie because I studied in Paris, and of course you have that Parisian chic lifestyle that is really great. Like, if you can go and study in Paris, definitely I would tell you go do it because it's really an amazing experience. And in the UK, like I told you, I studied nearby the sea, so that was like completely different mind. So my overall opinion is that if you want to study in France or in the UK, definitely do it. Both are completely different approach, different university, different lifestyle, everything is so different, but yet it's so profitable for you to have both if you can, or have one another. When it comes to France, what you will need to prepare yourself is to adapt yourself to the codes and method even when it comes to lifestyle, not only at universities, because if you don't get into that stand, if you don't get into there and do exactly like that, then I mean, you can be an underdog, that's not a problem, but it's really rare. But if you don't compromise with those codes, then 99% you will fail. Like, you have to be like this, and there's no other way. And in the UK, it's completely different. I mean, the lifestyle, the culture, everything is different, not only the university, but it's so refreshing depending on where you go. Like, I personally feel like home wherever I go in the UK. I went to Liverpool, I went to Swansea, to Belfast, and also to London. And yeah, I truly felt like home wherever I would go. And it took me less time, however, to adapt. That's one thing I would say compared to France. France is more strict. Either it fits you, I mean, yeah, either you fit, actually, not it fits you. Either you fit, either you don't fit. In the UK, it's more the reverse. You would take maybe 2 or 3 months to adapt yourself. And from there, yeah, you can have a really great life there. Okay guys, that's it for me. I hope you really enjoyed this video and it was really helpful for you. If that's the case, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till then, don't forget to check my vlog, and I'll see you on my Instagram page. Bye!